Now there are many different sorts of test kits that are available on the market, and you'll find that various people absolutely swear by different brands. But which brand you choose has a lot to do with what you're trying to achieve with your aquarium and what sort of person that you are. Some tests are just super simple to do, and therefore people are more likely to do them if they're really simple. Other tests are quite a bit more sophisticated and more accurate and can be harder to do, and they will suit other people. Other people prefer like the digital ones, and then there's also tests that you can send away, and you can get laboratory tests with various colorimetric machines and so forth that can give you even more accurate readings once again. But it's really good to see what is available on the market and really have a look at how the test is done. There's countless YouTube videos for each brand, so have a look at what's involved with doing the test and how accurate the test is. There's lots of reviews that you can read, and you'll find that, let's say, a brand like this, some people love it because it's so easy to test, therefore they're more likely to test it. Other people will say it's rubbish because it's not accurate enough. And then there's some brands that are much harder to do, and some people say that they will never actually do that because it's more difficult, and if it's difficult they'll never do it, so they'd rather have one that's easier and therefore more likely that they're actually going to test it. And it also depends on what sort of tank you want. Like, for example, if you are going to run a SPS tank full of acroporas and that, you're really better off going for a more accurate test. If you're trying to run a general aquarium, then going for the easier brand is probably worth it, because you've probably got less at stake, and you're probably more likely to test it if it is easier to test. So knowing what you're keeping and what results you need, and weighing that up against how easy the test is to do, is really what this is all about. Also, knowing your aquarium. For example, some people will test tests that are easier to test, and knowing that they're not as accurate as, say, other tests, but because they can read their aquarium, they would prefer to make that choice of testing the easier to test tank tests, knowing that they can look at their tank and see the result of their tank. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, it is the result of the tank that you are trying to achieve. It isn't so much the reading that you're getting on your test kit. And it does depend what sort of person you are. So some people are really detailed and they want the most accurate tests, and they want to try and keep their level perfect. Other people are not as detailed. They're just going to go with the vibe of their aquarium, and if their aquarium is telling them everything's good, then everything's good. I am a big fan of using logbooks or various apps that are available, but the only thing I want to convey at the moment is there's no point buying a test kit that's hard to test if you know that you're never going to test it. You're better off getting a test that's easy to test if you know that you're never going to test the other one. And if you're a person that very much goes off how your aquarium looks, and therefore you're not too concerned about how precise the reading of your test is because you're going off how your aquarium is communicating to you, then maybe it's not such good value for you to get the harder to test tests. So anyway, can you put a little note on the bottom of this video? What tests have you tested and hated them, and why? And what test kits have you used and loved them, and why?